Okay, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. This is Anas Idris, the Disruptive Innovation Director from AVC. I'm very glad and honored to be moderating this session today with you. Very exciting session that talks about the roadmap for sustainable waste management in Saudi Arabia. I would like everybody of you to introduce yourself. We can start first with Mr. Mohammed Darwish, the General Manager of Digital Solution of Mawan. And Mawan is the new regulatory authority in Saudi Arabia, the National Center of Waste Management. Mr. Darwish.
Assalamu alaikum. Thanks a lot, Engineer Anas. My name is Mohammed Darwish. I'm the head of Digital Solutions in Mawan. And as Engineer Anas introduced, Mawan is the National Center for Waste Management. We are the regulatory body in Saudi Arabia. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you. Now, Engineer Sami Safran, the Group President of MEPCO. And MEPCO, the Middle East paper company, is the largest cardboard and paper products producer in the Middle East. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Anas. My name is Sami. I'm the group president for MEPCO, which is a dedicated recycling company for paper. We own also our waste management company called Wasco, which is the largest waste management, controls almost 500,000 tons of recyclables in Saudi Arabia and nearby region. I'm delightful to join you guys and discuss and learn from you.
Thank you. Thank you. Great. And now my two colleagues, ex-colleagues and my friends, we'll start with Mohammed Sharif, the Director of Business Development from Averda. Averda is the largest integrated waste management company in the Middle East, Africa, and Asia, maybe in India now they are working.
Correct.
They are everywhere.
Thank you, Anna. Thanks a lot. I'm Mohammed Al-Sharif. I'm the director of the business development for Averda. As you may know, Averda is the leading waste management company specifically in the emerging markets, which is GCC and Africa, as well as in Asia, which is we started with India now. We do provide full integrated waste management services. We do exist in Saudi Arabia for more than 10 years across Saudi Arabia cities. Thank you.
Great, great. Thank you. And now my friend, Jul Adam. I can't see you, Jul. He's the project manager from BIA, the very well reputable BIA Tandif, part of BIA Group, the Sharjah-based waste management company. And they are now moving into other industries like renewable energy, technology, and everything, I guess. Jul?
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. Good to see you, Anas, Mohammed, Engineer Sami. I have, it seems, a small technical issue which I'm trying to solve regarding getting seen, so I'm able to see you all. And yes, as you have just introduced, I am a part of BIA Tandif, a project manager here. And I'm coming with about 20 years of experience in logistics and waste management and recycling. BIA has been active in the full stream of waste management and resources management, I would say, from collection, treatment, and renewable energy recently. And we are operating in UAE, KSA, and Egypt.
Great. And I think I would introduce myself very briefly. My name is Anas Idris, and I worked in the waste management industry since 2003. I'm expert in digital transformation technology and ICT innovation for everything related to the waste management industry in waste collection, waste treatment, landfilling, disposal across the whole value chain. And I'm very passionate about this industry, and today our topic and how we can put a roadmap for the Saudi Arabia to shift its waste management into a sustainable model. That would be great Saudi Arabia recently witnessing rapid industrialization, high population, very fast urbanization, and all this putting pressures on the government and local authorities to manage solid waste management in the proper way. And with population more than 35 million, generating on average 1.5 kilogram per person per day, that's a huge amount of waste, around 20 million ton a year. And today, we will start our session to see this. And I will start with you, Mr. Darwish, to tell us about your view of the waste management landscape in the Saudi Arabia, and what are the key themes here to shape the industry.
Thank you, Engineer Anas. There is a state of focus orientation from the government here in Saudi Arabia, and a great state actually of national awareness as well, which is accompanied by the nation. Everybody is feeling that there is a serious problem in the current state of the way that we are dealing with the waste. So most of our waste, according to the latest statistics, talking about 53 million tons produced annually within Saudi Arabia. And most of those waste generation in a collection is diverted toward the landfills. The landfills are not engineered landfills. And you can imagine that this is creating a big problem from the economy, from the social, and from the environmental perspective. Mawan, after the initiation of its mandate, it is focusing on the diversion of that waste stream from the landfill toward the 5 R's, let's say. So we are talking about the reduce, the recycle, and the reuse. So we are targeting to flip the image from 95% diverted to the landfills to diverting out of the landfill 82% out of those 53 tons.
Yeah.
So it's an ambitious, and we are focusing, and it is getting all the focus from different parties.
Yeah, it's amazing what Mawan is now trying to do to the industry. Very unique model. I know it very well working with you guys in Mawan in designing the digital platform that would allow Mawan and empower Mawan to really manage the waste from a central place for the whole kingdom. Engineer Sami, from your experience in Wasco, in the last 5 years in the kingdom, what, in your opinion, was the the major achievements that happened in waste management?
Well, thank you very much. Darwish, he made a great introduction, and it is really the fact. The Saudi vision by 2035, a complete diversion from landfills by 80% recycling, probably 19% waste to energy. And look, I've been in the waste management quite some time, but still we are learning on that one. Earlier, we used to speak about the modern world in Europe, where we are talking about a high ambition of recycling rates and things like that. So when we started our industry in MEBCO, that was based on the recycling of the paper. And one of the major challenges actually is to allocating the material for that. And accordingly, we have invested in a backward integration, including actually material recovery facilities at the site. Through those ones, we were suffering from major challenges and lack of clarity of the direction, which really puts a lot of our business on a risk. In today's situation, things are totally different from a consumer point of view. I can see a clear vision is coming, a clear targets, and also I have seen really the appetite of adopting to the new ambitions are very high within the business entrepreneurs. Since the vision have been launched, let's say, I'm not exactly aware that it's 5 years, probably plus and minus, I have seen an actual transformation is happening on the ground. We have seen a couple of announced projects. We have seen latest RDF have been in operations in Riyadh City. Even ourselves, as a more concern about the paper side, we have seen regulations has launched, institutional. Mawan starting now to build a database of the waste informations which is not available in the kingdom. The topic is really so excited, but I'd like really to stop here so we can answer more questions accordingly.
Great. Now, with all talking about this ambitious Saudi vision, I would like to shift my attention to Mohammed Sharif and ask him, like, Averda as a waste management company, well established in the Saudi market for years now. What is Averda's strategy and how it's contributing to such Saudi vision?
Thank you, Anas. Actually, last year, as a whole, Averda, we have announced our new 24 strategies, which is actually 3-year strategies and we have given a commitment to the world that we are going to divert 80% of the waste, which is it flows through our fleet. This is a commitment of whole Averda, and this is being cascaded down to each and every countries. And one of the countries for sure is on the top countries, as you can say, is Saudi Arabia. Through this journey, we are trying to build facilities. We are trying to go through a journey with our customers. We are trying to build or invest in our ideal customer profile, taking them through a journey of taking more actions toward sustainability. In addition to this, part of this strategies, because this is a real commitment from Averda that we have an investment plan or investment pipeline within Saudi Arabia itself, which is starting from some investments in food waste, diversion, plastic recycling. Those are some of the key exciting projects I believe we'll be able to announce that soon. This is in addition to getting part of industry coalitions of which is tackling mainly the one of the 2 major issues in Saudi Arabia, which is the food waste and the packaging waste as well as.
Great. And if I talk about BIA now as an ambitious waste management company coming in newly to the Saudi market, Jul, like, what have been the major challenges that faced BIA to develop this sector? Because coming with the ambitious for like circular economy, bringing sustainability, implementing new solutions, technology solutions, already contracted big projects in the kingdom. Like, what are these challenges and what are the current plans for this ambition? You're muted.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, now good.
So where we are coming from, of course, we are trying to bring in all the best practices that we have applied recently in other countries. And since our start in Medina projects in particular, we are facing a lot of challenges. And if we look actually at the market, the kingdom's market, and the practices, we see that there are challenges at different levels. If we start, for example, with the regulation and management, we see that there is little or no enforcement on the legislation, on the responsibilities of the institutions in terms of handling the waste and delivering it from source eventually to treatment and post-treatment as well. Another level of challenge would be at the collection and recycling. The current practice is basically a so all the waste is a single stream waste. As per the contracts up to date, this has been the trend, let's say. It has been the habit up to now until I would say 2019, 22. The majority, let's say, not to include everything or all the projects or all the areas, have been a pure collection of a single mixed type of waste to a disposal site, which mainly is a dump site, not engineered, as Muhammad mentioned, and there is also another challenge of the scavenging. Even if there is some type of recyclable material that is recoverable at the landfill, sometimes it is not. There is an informal or waste collection that is happening before. So this is on the, if you want, the collection and recycling level. On the treatment side, if I want to go further, even on the treatment side, we mentioned there is some illegal disposals, the level of the landfill. So there is no segregation of the biodegradable material that is sent to the landfill mixed with the others, which is eventually causing some environmental impacts. And the impacts actually affect both the underground waters, because of the leachate that takes its way down, and also the emissions from the fermentation that happens in landfill. So the greenhouse gas emissions are there, and they are not contained. These are also a resource that we can basically collect and transform into a source of energy. They can be treated in many different ways that would be more environmental. Also, if I want to go further, we can talk about the economic sustainability challenges. And by this, I mean that there is no incentive for the waste producers to actually handle their waste in a different way. This was not there. And neither there is a kind of penalty or a charge or fee for not handling the waste properly. There is a mix of hazardous with the non-hazardous, and the disposal is just like a very simple transportation. Of course, a last part would be the awareness at all levels. So the awareness, the engagement of the professionals and the industries. When we look now at the kingdom and see that there is a lot of development going on the industrial, which is also followed in parallel with the development on the residential. The awareness was not there on that level. Definitely, the targets now are very high. It's they are very ambitious, and I think by having all these efforts and all the private partners invited into the market to contribute, and with the necessary financing, we can progress a lot.
I cannot agree more with you, Zul. All these challenges are there, and I personally, as a like software engineer by education, and like built and developed a lot of software solution for this industry, I believe that data is a crucial element that would like help the Saudi government to tackle these challenges and help and support stakeholders like you guys to develop and really shift this waste management into a really circular model and a sustainable model for the next generation. My question for you, Engineer Sami, would be like as a big stakeholder in this industry in the kingdom market, like are you required to report waste data to the government authorities? And if yes, like what kind of data you report?
Look, it's a good question. Answering the question for the time being, since Mawan started actively implementing their regulations, we started all those who is dealing with the waste management from generation, transportations, utilizations, and storage has to get notify the National Waste Center and get approval for that one. And currently, we have actually licensed all our operations from the waste collection, recycling, and the production, including storage. So I believe Mawan is gradually building the data bank. I can't speak on behalf of Darwish, but I know Mawan also is engaging actually a consulting firm to conduct a survey for waste categorizations and quantifications. Now, going to what my colleague mentioning earlier about the lack of regulations available, it is true. However, let me tell you, for example, as MEBCO and WASCO, during the 2 decades that we have operated, We have conducted different programs between educational programs, CSR activities, awareness activities, okay? It is not major, okay? But at least we are proud that we have actually educated, for example, 6,000 students in the past 10 years about the waste management and environmental concerns. Today, Mawan, I think, is empowering a lot of initiatives. One of them recently, we signed it in Al-Hassa city, in digitalizing the generated waste available for recycling and creating an incentive toward that one. Look, the picture currently is not perfect, but is there, I mean, your genuine question, is there a 5 years change that has happened? The answer is yes. Honestly speaking, look, I'm rational and I'm biased, but the last 5 years for myself as a user, I have seen a major change that really serve my business in a great way, including digitalization of the data. I used to conduct a market survey, for example, for the recycling materials related to paper. Today, the available informations and the statistical streams are allowing me to access more information and data. Give you an example. Today, our market information about waste paper is almost generated 1 million tons. Now, if you see the current recycling plant in Saudi Arabia, we are also a producer of 1 million. So anyone who will see the picture from outside, he'll see, oh, you are 100% recycling of your generated waste paper. Reality, of course, is different because the total consumptions of paper in Saudi Arabia is close to 2 million tons. So technically, we are a 50% recycling, okay? Which puts us actually more toward the advanced world of recycling. Like if you see China, for example, it's a 50%, Turkey, I believe the same thing. However, the ambition, of course, is to grow closer to Germany or Japan, which is above 82. And for reality, we know that it's coming as a finished goods, which is all the durable and non-durable goods being imported. It comes with the packaging material. So our initial estimations of the available waste in Saudi Arabia will be on an average of 2.8 to 3 million tons, which that brings the figure to less than 40%. Now, this is a low figure. And I believe by implementing the ambition of Saudi Arabia and segregating waste from the sources, diverting them into a clean MRFs, will increase the availability of the waste paper and will incentivize the economy to grow further.
Exactly. And like, as you said, this kind of data will not only make your life easier, but like it will really like shift your investments and your projects to go on the proper place and would achieve your targets accurately. Now, all this starts with a contract. Like the market is like the government would subcontract the waste management activities and actions to waste management companies and make a contract. And Mohammed Al-Sharif, I would like to let us know, like, how are these municipal waste collection contracts are managed in KSA? We need to know, like, how those contracts are being run.
Thank you, Anas. Okay, actually, we do operate, as I said earlier, through spread across KSA, namely Jeddah, Tabuk, Mahayel, Royal Commission of Jubail, Qatif, and so many of them. Most of the contracts, which is even in Saudi Arabia and some other even countries, it's more of quantity plus performance based contracts. Now, it looked like with the new regulation which is coming in was putting a lot of pressure on source segregations, diversion from landfills. It looked like there is an additional KPIs now is going to be introduced to the waste collection contracts to ensure a lot of investment being put in, which is going to be more of deliverables and performance based contracts.
Great. And like, can you tell us about like new contracts that would support sustainability in waste management that you guys doing now? Or
okay, great. That's great. Actually, one of the very interesting projects we are working on it is the Red Sea projects, where we are building integrated waste management facility for them. We have built already, engineered and built and designed for them, and currently we're operating for them facilities, which is to take care of the construction and demolition waste, food waste, mixed recyclables, So all of this, it goes through that integrated facility. This is actually part of the Red Sea mandates of having zero discharge, which is cascaded to zero waste to the landfill, where we are able to treat all the waste which is being generated during the construction stage, starting from construction and demolition. Food waste goes to the composting facilities, and then construction and demolition goes to aggregates and sub-aggregates. Then you have the mixed recyclables, which is being channeled to the local industries. This is one of the really very unique projects in KSA, and this is thanks to the vision as well as to the objectives of the Red Sea. One of the other things which is really interesting, and we announced it recently as well as not secret, now we are building the new phase of the facilities when it comes to the operational stage. So the whole waste which is going to be generated during the operations of the whole Red Sea project and Red Sea city, including the island, all of this is going to come to a facilities which is being designed to take more sustainable and more modern waste management directions.
Okay, great. Great work. And like a lot of talk recently about like the role of digital transformation in like pushing this industry ahead, make it more transparent, make it more efficient. And like Engineer Muhammad Darwish, like I know you that you are a digital guy, you are an IT specialist, and you talk about the waste management in core. Can you tell us what's the correlation between those two fields?
Thank you for this question, Engineer Anas. First of all, allow me to embrace the colleagues, Engineer Sami, Muhammad, and Jules. I'm so happy to hear from them that whatever they are saying, it is aligned with our direction. This means that we do have a good relationship, and we are cooperating and updating each other. And the direction for the digitization, we are all in Saudi Arabia, realize that actually this is the future arm actually that will enable us all to, shorten the path and to capitalize on the data and to be a very well informed society. Back to your question, to be honest, Anas, I'm an IT guy, a digital guy. I used to work in different sectors prior to joining Mawan, and automation is my beloved task actually. But to be a digital guy to enable the business, you need to dig in to understand the business. To digest it very well, and then to enable the digitization for that process. So since I joined Mawan, I worked hard to, get to understand the core business, the waste management sector and the waste management value chain, in addition to Saudi Arabia as a very wide area of a country. Actually pushed me toward trying my best actually to understand the sector so that I can understand the main targets, the main KPIs, the main goals, the main terminology. Whenever you're getting in a new sector, you'll have to learn the new terminology. So the first time, this is a funny story about myself actually. When I first joined, I heard about the EPR, and we have something called the ERP in the IT. So I said, is it flipped or what is going on? So the EPR is the extended producer responsibility, and it took me a long while to understand the concepts. So each sector has its own secrets, its own speciality. So as a digital guy, I'll need to understand the sector in order to enable it digitally. Eventually, we will be, as Engineer Sami said, a data-driven organization, and part of that will be acquiring the data from the regulation, from the licensing, and then from the transaction on the ground, in order to build our directions, where that will help us in our planning, and it will help us in the encouragement for the investment in the sector itself.
Great. And like the facilities play a major role in waste management. All this waste would go to multiple types of like facilities to like either store or treat or recycle the waste or safely dispose it. And like I would like to ask Engineer Sami about like an example of one of their facilities. Like, do you operate your own treatment facility, for example, or do you rely on a government provided capacity? And then where are the capacity gaps in the waste treatment infrastructure in Saudi Arabia? And like, are more infrastructure facilities needed to improve waste diversion and increasing the recycling rates that the government would desire to achieve?
والله شوف احنا when we have invested in the material recovery facilities at that time there was actually no announced regulations about the waste management in Saudi Arabia, which when we design our facility we design it as a single stream facilities, which my colleague Julie is really having a challenge with. In those classical facilities, your recovery rate will be in around of, let's say, 10%. And that's what we have built. Definitely, look, dealing with a single stream, you cannot really predict a scientific design behind it. Rather, it's based on an experience and the type of waste that is coming. For example, we have two different type of facilities. Engineered one of them is in Al Hassan, the other is in Al Taif. I could say really two different streams are there. So the equipment designs there are differences. Now, the interesting part is that recently, answering your previous questions, yeah, there is a set of KPIs on the municipalities, and now municipalities are reporting actually a recovery rate from the generated waste, and that's actually one of the incentives why all municipalities, although the regulations are yet to come, but they are encouraging an investment into material recovery facilities in a different way. I know there is also one state-of-the-art ones in Medina. Now, for us, the good news is that while the evolution of the waste management strategies in Saudi Arabia are in development and executions, that will be really great to serve the existing operations and to expand, because especially the waste management, and look, I'm not an expert for that, but from my experience, I noted that the local experience of operating companies within the country itself are really of a great value added to the business, because they could understand the cultural differences, the type differences, which make them align with themselves. And greatly, whether Mawan or the PIF company CERC are in a full understanding of that approach, and they are working to empower the local companies to expand their expertise in the field here.
Yeah, and like, as you said, the regulations, you started, there was no regulations. There is a big like effect of the current regulation in shaping the industry. Like, Jules, like BIA as a contractor in the Saudi market, are you incentivized by the current existing regulation or the client requirements to support waste reduction or minimization? And if yes, how do you do this?
Well, unfortunately, on the current running projects, this is not a requirement. This is not a contractual requirement from the tender itself. And this is why there is no close monitoring or KPI linked to it, or an objective placed for the reduction or the segregation. So it is still, so far in what we are operating, a single stream that is being collected from multiple points, collected and disposed in a single landfill or dumping facility.
And like, as you see, like the recent COVID pandemic has an impact on this and on the waste sector in general, and like, what were the lessons you guys learned from it?
Oh, definitely. The whole waste composition and even the generation of the waste has changed. So basically, during the pandemic, people were quarantined or they had to stay at their residences for much longer times than they are spending in commercial areas, restaurants, malls, and even on the workplace, because we had all the shift of remote working. There has been an adverse effect on many businesses, so there was a slowdown. On the waste side, we had this shift from commercial to residential. People are generating more at their premises, at their houses, and this has had a great impact increase. There were lots of deliveries, so there is a hike also in the recyclables that were, because a lot of packaging, everything is multiply packaged so that to protect it and then from contamination. And we moved more in a practice to avoid the contamination into disposable packaging, not to have the reuse, because of the fear of contamination from the virus, the COVID-19 virus. So this was a major shift. Plus, there was an addition of a new stream, which is the COVID waste. We all know that there is a normal stream of medical waste, but this has had a spike, and it was categorized even separately from the normal medical waste. So there was an increase, a creation of a new stream, let's say. And this stream was hazardous, dangerous, that had to be treated separately, differently, and that was mainly the effect on the waste. Of course, so the composition, the characterization of the waste coming from different sources, the quantities have fluctuated, and a new stream has entered into the list of, if you want, multiple streams of waste.
Yeah. And at the same time, amazingly, we've seen the Saudi economy is growing fast. Sectors like construction, tourism, and hospitality are booming nowadays. We all know that this would put a lot of pressure on the waste management industry. Like large volumes of waste are being generated. My question for you, Mohammed Al-Sharif, how contractors like Averda are meeting this big demand, and is like a focus on demonstrating good practice for waste management on those specific sectors like hospitality, tourism, and construction.
Interesting, Anas. Thank you. Actually, there is everybody experiencing that. There is then a big growth in terms of waste generations. And when it comes to the tourism and as well as the hospitality, plus the construction which is going on, now we start, because of the people, they are feeling that there is really a change after having the new waste regulations became in board, and now we're speaking about the executive regulations is to be released soon. So the people, we start to feel, in addition to the increment of waste which is we are experiencing, the people, they start to get them prepared for this. Actually, and this is something being addressed by even Sami and Muhammad, which is the lack of the infrastructure exists in the country, which is now it's under development. So we are trying to focus on the source segregations, unless there is a facilities, as I explained in the Red Sea. We are lucky that for this projects, so there is a construction, they are building for hospitality. So we are building the facility which is going to cater for these type of waste. When it comes to individuals, because we don't want to forget the other activities which is going individually. There is a lot of development happening in the country. In Salman, then you have the cycle bridge, you have so many projects is going in. There is a huge development in Jeddah and so on. All of this, there is a lot of shopping center as well as all of them, it come with a LEED certification and sustainable certification process. With this, if there is no facility within the city, what we are trying to do, we are trying to focus with the waste generators on the source segregation. So when you deal with the waste, at the moment is being segregated at source, is going to be more of commodity. So you end up with less type of mixed waste, which is going. For example, some of these industries like the hotel, which is the co-part of the hospitalities, the main waste we know very well is the packaging and the food waste. We are trying to get the food waste, which is, we call it wet waste, away from the recyclables, which is, then it's easy for them to handle both of them. The mixed recyclable, there is facilities which is as Wissam was mentioning, and which can deal with the mixed recycle, which is being opened as a merchant plant. And then the food waste could be taken care within the facility, within the entity itself, by converting to compost, where they can use it within their premises, which is a very clear demonstration for circular economy.
Great, great. I'm very cautious about the time. Still have like two questions, one for Engineer Sami, one for Engineer Mohammed Darwish, and then we'll move to the questions that we have a lot of them, and I can see in the chat. So, Engineer Sami, like from your experience, what are the recommended best practices for the development of the waste sector in the Saudi Kingdom?
Well, I think in a very simple manner, Mr. Mohammed Darwish mentioned the EPR. Look, the waste management cycle in Saudi Arabia today, the government are spending an average of 200 riyal per ton of waste from the collection process to the landfill. Now, we know for a fact that if you want to treat a generated waste like any other waste, whether it's a liquid or a solid, it has a cost in the stream. Now, some of this generated waste actually is covering itself. Like, for example, in a paper industry, the waste paper the waste paper have its own value that we can recycle it and finance it. Same for the metals, but not, I believe for other industries, probably like the plastic. And accordingly, I think implementing the EPR concept to proceed in the business growth, I think this is one of the pillars that really will make the industry to grow and be sustainable.
Great, great. And to end with, like, we know that this industry needs to be efficient, cost saving, reducing like the carbon emissions, like saving on food waste whatsoever. And it's pretty much known that like digital transformation would be a major push for this. We've seen this in parallel industry, for example, like the taxi industry or like airlines whatsoever, how digital transformation has transformed the whole industry. And we've started seeing smart cities emerging in the kingdom. We've started seeing like cities implementing and asking for smart waste management system, where we put like Internet of Things sensor inside the waste container to tell how full it is in real time and try to optimize the routes, make it more dynamic, technologies on the trucks, technologies to increase the efficiency and make the job with less cost and less impact on the environment. Engineer Mohammed Darwish, like Mawan as now the new central regulatory authority for the kingdom, a national waste management center, what like role would the Mawan play in the digital transformation, and like what do you think the changes that would take place in this area that Mawan would introduce?
Thank you, Engineer Anas. You know, the government have figured out a gap in the waste management within Saudi Arabia, and that resulted in the establishment of a regulator, which is Mawan. Mawan is right now focusing on three major pillars, let me say. You know, a lot of initiatives, but I can summarize it in three major pillars. The first is the regulation, which my colleagues here in the room have talked about, and they are realizing the importance of that. And then those regulation will be transferred into planning, where Mawan is focusing on the master plan or creating a master plan for the waste management sector in Saudi Arabia. And then, of course, that master plan will be translated into a digital transformation plan. So having a unified platform, a unified workplace, a digital workplace to regulate, to apply the regulation, to monitor the sector, to acquire the data from the field in cooperation with the different government stakeholders and the gentlemen colleagues working on the ground as a company working in the waste management stream and value chain. That will help actually in gathering all those into a unified place where everybody can utilize to control or to encourage the investments or to do the planning and measure the achievements. Mawan will adopt actually a lot of the disruptive technologies, including the IoT, the machine learning, the AI, and all the emerging technologies within its plant platform. And that's toward having the one place where it will help Mawan, and it will help the value chain with all the stakeholders in the waste management sector in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, that's great news to the industry, having like a central place where all the stakeholders in the industry would connect, would have like a common information hub to make connection and communication between them very easy, would really have disruptive effects on the industry and push it and transform it into a very digital, lean and efficient model. With the remaining like 10 minutes or so, let's have a look at the questions coming from our audience, and like anyone who feels free to answer this question would be great. Safid Hadzik is asking about the tires and the used tires that present really a major environmental problem, not only in Saudi Arabia but in the MENA region, and he's asking, are there like tire depots organized and to collect those, and how the policy develop in this segment of waste in KSA?
Probably, if I can comment from my side, look, we've been watching the tire recycling concerns, and definitely I think BIA is more expert as they are having their own units actually in tire recycling. Ultimately, the way we see it is that the quickest and straightforward solutions is converting the tires to energy. And for example, at the city of Jeddah, Safwa Cement has invested in a recycling facility of tire, utilizing it in their cement factories as an energy alternatives. The only concerns about it is that until now, the economics between the cost of recycling and the alternatives are not motivating enough to proceed in the activities itself. And that's why I refer back initially to the word of EPR, which actually this is incentivize the investment in the tire recycling, creating value, whether converting it to pillar or to extracting it back again in the process.
Great, great. Another question coming from Manuel Hidalgo. Yeah, my friend, the waste management expert working for Yamba. He's asking actually, Jules, and Jules, he's asking you if you guys have assessed the whole waste management sector in the kingdom.
If we have assessed, well, no, it's a quite wide task to do for the whole country. We're progressing, I would say, area by area or project by project, because every geography has its own specifics. So the waste generated, the treatment, the characterization of the waste would be different. The collection streams or routings, requirements, the land area would require different probably types of vehicles, etc. And the treatment would of course follow. So whatever are the findings from the initial assessment, then we would recommend the adequate treatment and transportation. But that we covered the full kingdom, I would say not yet.
Yeah. I have a lot of questions, so I'll go very fast.
Can Anas, I have a comment on the first question specifically on tire, because it's very interesting. It's open a floor for diverse discussions when it comes specifically to tires and this type of the whole industry of recycling. Usually, the key answer always to this is the off-taking. There is an enough offtake for all these type of waste or not. Like when we speak about tires, we have multiple options. We have alternative fuel, we have alternative materials like reprise the floor, reprise the tires. All of this, if there is no offtake, usually the project is not feasible. The same thing with the construction and demolition. If there is no proper off-takers to get those output, which is going to come from these materials as the road base, sub base, all of this, if this is not there, it's not going to happen. For sure, the incentives is going to play a lot of roles. For example, if there is a regulations come, for example, for the packaging industry, when if you guys are using more than 30% of the recycled materials, there is less taxes going to be applied. This is, I believe, what is going to drive to make a demand for all this type of waste, which is at this stage is piling up even in the rest of the region.
Yeah, great. I'm trying to group some questions so that we move quicker. Arunita was asking, what are the current plans for Saudi Arabia for streamlining e-waste, electronic waste, and are there any regulation being developed specifically for e-waste? Similar question coming from Musa Kazim asking about a recycling solution for glass, fiber, textile. Also, we have Gary Hubbard asking about used cooking oil. Mr. Darwish, you've mentioned about the extended producer responsibility and plan strategy to introduce EPR schemes in the kingdom. So maybe you can quickly ask those three questions.
Okay, a lot of the questions on the table actually will be answered within our master plan. Our master plan will draw the roadmap and put the baseline for all the different kind of handling for different waste streams. Of course, those kind of waste that have been mentioned in the question, and if we're talking about the EPR, Engineer Anas, that the EPR is supposed to support the final disposal or the injection of the stream again and the circular economy. So when you're talking about the tires, for example, there will be a special regulation for the tires, EPR module. And that was one of the priorities within Mawan, actually, to handle the tires. The regulation will help, actually, and the master plan will help in the way that the tires will be treated and applied for the EPR model. The EPR model, of course, it is having different kind of implementation. So some of the countries, they are establishing different entities for different kind of industries. And this will be specified very precisely within the master plan, inshallah.
Great, great. We have a question from Arwa Zain. And Arwa is asking, like, is the recycling rate at KSA is at 40% at the national level and for all waste stream or separate waste stream?
No, the recycling rate of Saudi Arabia now definitely it is less than 10% because the other than I think the paper and scrap metal, plastics becomes minority, like plastic out of almost I think 250,000 ton consumption. The recovered is less than 40,000 ton here. So and this is what actually the government initiatives are targeting, is to enhance the recycling rate to reach up to 100% or 99% diversion from the landfill. Going back to your previous question, by the way, regarding electronic waste, we do have facilities in Saudi Arabia. There is actually two facilities, one in Jeddah, one in Riyadh. It's a modern facility that is operating. They face a challenge into getting the required materials to the market. But I would like really to echo what Mr. Mohammed mentioned regarding the off-takers or the demand. Always the demand is going to be there and it is there, but really what drives it is the economics behind it. Yani today, for example, why I'm focusing in the paper recycling, it's because of the economics behind it is viable. Now, the cost of collecting the electronics of plastic is way much higher with the existing systems. It doesn't pay actually the whole circular economy behind it, and that's what I'm hoping with the principle of EPR concept. We will see more flow of materials that justify the business in general.
Great, great. Another question from Manuel. Question for Engineer Muhammad from Mawan. Where is Mawan right now with the online automated waste management and tracking system? Is there any platform being built at kingdom level?
Thanks for the question. We are in the final stages of designing a digital platform, and that will include all different kind of aspects and pillars that as part of Mawan mandate. You know, Mawan have just started an operation in 2021, and we tried our best to establish the first steps which can push and help the market to continue the work and not to suspend that. The digital platform is in the pipeline, and it will cover all that mentioned mandate that will be part of the pillars and the pipeline of the master plan, inshallah.
Inshallah. I have a question for Mr. Joule. How much COVID-19 waste have been generated in the kingdom since the beginning of the pandemic, and what's the treatment and disposal methods being applied?
On the overall quantity, I don't have the exact figure, so I don't want to be misleading on this. But for the proper treatment, it is mainly incineration. So the incineration has been the main way of treating the COVID waste to avoid any type of contamination and, of course, leaving the virus alive for some time.
Okay, great. I think we have concluded all the questions. Thank you guys for this really beautiful panel. I would like to summarize and what she's seen. We've talked about how strong legislation, public awareness, financial support, disruptive, innovative digital technologies, and stakeholders' participation should be the key in really transforming the Saudi Arabia into a sustainable waste management system and a circular waste management model. Thank you, team, for your answers and for sharing this tremendous knowledge with the public, and hope to see you soon on other panels. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot. Thank you all.